What if Deku joined Team JPDE? Chapter 48. Secrets of Remnant. Sunday. Day 133. Deku and Jack were heading up to Ozpin's office. The lift doors then opened into Ozpin's office and the two walked in. "Good morning, Miss Ivory and Mr. Midoriya," Ozpin said. "Good morning, Headmaster. Miss Goodwitch," Jack and Deku said. "Good morning," Glinda said. "I suppose you two are wondering why I've called the two here," Ozpin said. "Yes, sir," Jack said. "I assume it's not to tell me that I'm being expelled at the end of the year?" Deku asked. "While a formal discussion about your expulsion is needed, that is not why I called you two here. I've called you two here to give me a more detailed report on what happened in the Barito Forest. Mr. Deku was unable to give me a full report due to him being unconscious towards the end of the mission," Ozpin said. "Makes sense," Jack said. "I would also like a report on what transpired by your account, Mr. Midoriya. And I would like to know more about that new Grim you fought," Ozpin said. "New Grim?" Deku asked. "Yes. You fought a Grim that has never been seen before," Glinda said. "Allow me to refresh your memory," Ozpin said. Ozpin showed an image of the Grim, just before it was eaten by the Gamera. "This is the only image of the Grim before it was killed." "What can you tell me about it?" Ozpin asked. Deku stared at the image and the memories started coming back to him. Deku's face began to go pale. "Mr. Midoriya?" Ozpin asked. "Midoriya, are you okay?" Glinda asked. "That Grim? That isn't a Grim," Deku said. Izuku. "That is a Grim," Jack said. "It may be a Grim, but that's not what it is," Deku said. "Then what is it?" Ozpin asked. "It's a no-mu. A creature from my world," Deku said. Deku then explained what a no-mu was and then him and Jack gave their report. Meanwhile, the rest of Team JPDE were waiting at the Bullhead Landing. "They're taking longer than I thought," Evelyn said. "Could something have happened?" David asked. Jack said she was just going to give a report. "And there's only for Izuku to report and his formal expulsion notice to keep them." "Perhaps they got dragged into a longer discussion," Penny said. "Hopefully it was nothing." "Oh. There they are," Evelyn said. Deku and Jack walked up to the three with solemn expression on their faces. "Jack. Deku," David said. "Hey, what's wrong?" Evelyn. "But," Jack said. "What?" Penny asked. "We've found," Jack said. "We've found Amber," Deku said. "You've found Amber? What do you?" David asked. "You don't mean you've found her body?" Evelyn asked. "Yes, we have. Good news is, she's still alive," Deku said. "Bad news is she's slowly dying," Jack said. "Amber is?" "No," Penny said. "Okay, from the top. What happened?" David asked. "Where's Titania and Ruby?" Jack asked. "They said they were going to meet us in Vale directly. They went ahead of us," Penny said. "I'm not looking forward to telling the same story twice," Jack said. "I'll tell them when we get into Vale," Deku said. "Thanks. Anyway, we had just given our reports and Izuku had given information about the no-mu Grim he fought," Jack said. "No-mu Grim?" Evelyn asked. "I'll explain later. Amber is more important." As Jack was saying. Back in Ozpin's office 20 minutes ago. And that's how it ended. With a giant metal dragon cavalry rush, Jack said. "I see. As confirmed by Mr. Deku, the intervention of this Janera was providential," Ozpin said. "Yes. Miss Goodwitch told us about your doubts, but she's most certainly an ally," Deku said. "That's good to know. Always better to have a magician on your side than against you." "Speaking of magicians, have your team had further encounters with the maiden?" Ozpin asked. "No, Headmaster. We haven't. Would have certainly made the trip to Barito much easier if we had a legend in the group," Jack said. I see, Ozpin said. Headmaster. Miss Goodwitch, what's with the silent treatment all of a sudden? Deku asked. I fear that we have not been completely truthful with the two of you, Ozpin said. About what, exactly? Jack asked. When we told you that the maidens are real. We also didn't tell you that we have reason to believe that the maiden you met was just a ruse. An illusion, Ozpin said. And what kind of reason may that be, Headmaster? Jack asked. It's simpler to show you, at this point. Since it also ties into the reason why I asked you and Miss Damerot to come to Beacon in the first place, Miss Ivory, Ozpin said. Jack and Deku were then taken into the elevator. Ozpin then entered a code and then the elevator began to descend. Mr. Midoriya. Your quirk is not normal, is it? Ozpin asked. No. It's not, Deku said. As I expected. And am I also right in assuming that there's a great evil that wants your quirk? Ozpin said. You've hit the nail on the head. And since you're basically there, I'll tell you that the quirk I have now was passed down to me, Deku said. Then you already know the significance of what I'm going to tell you, Ozpin said. Deku gave Ozpin a curious look. Jack and Glinda could feel the tension rising in the elevator. What is this place? Jack asked. This is the reason why Beacon is built where it is. It's been given names over the centuries. You can just call it the Vault, Ozpin said. A vault? For what? Jack asked. A few things. As of now, the most prominent object in it. Gods, no. She's not an object. She's a victim, Glinda said. She's also the proof you need, Ozpin said. Deku and Jack could tell there was someone inside the machine located at the back of the vault. Miss Ivory. Mr. Midoriya, Ozpin said. Jack and Deku then walked up to the machine. Meet Amber. Although I think, in a way, you've already met her, Ozpin said. This, Jack said. Does she look like the person your team supposedly met in the city of Peak? Ozpin asked. Yes, I mean, minus the scars and burns. Why is she in this machine? Jack asked. She's dying. Isn't she? Deku asked. Yes, Glinda said. What? What happened to her? And what does that have anything to do with me and Evelyn? Jack asked. When Miss Goodwitch told you about the existence of maidens, she also asked for your secrecy in the matter. That wasn't only for the chaos that such a revelation would bring, but also to protect magical users like Amber, Ozpin said. You mean someone attacked her? Deku asked. Someone attacked her. Tried to steal her magic powers. Her attacker was stopped halfway, which is the only reason why Amber is not already dead. But her situation is rapidly deteriorating. We don't know how much time she has left, Glinda said. You mean this machine can't heal her? Jack asked. There's nothing on Remnant which can help a soul torn in half, Ozpin said. A soul? Jack asked. Just like a semblance, magic is very closely tied to the soul and aura. When her attacker tried to steal her magic, she was stealing everything else, as well. As I'm sure you know by now, ways to heal an aura structure exist. But a soul can only heal on its own. With time until then, she will never be able to wake up. Unfortunately, the shock caused her aura structure to fail completely, beyond the point of healing. There's nothing keeping her body alive but this machine, and even that will not last forever. She doesn't have the time to heal her soul, Ozpin said. If she cannot wake up, why are you prolonging her suffering like this? Deku asked. Because if she dies, her attacker will obtain all of her powers, Ozpin said. Back to the present. Team JPDE were now in Vale at the market. When Cinder attacked Amber, she couldn't finish the job. And that left her and Amber with only half of a maiden's powers each. And whoever dies first leaves the other half to the other person, Jack said. So we kill Cinder, David said. Unfortunately, that won't work. Getting her magic back wouldn't fix her body, Deku said. Then There's nothing we can do, David asked. There's not much we can do for her now, except to pursue every thread. Also, we still have time to find the miracle we need, Deku said. And thankfully I managed to secure some more time for us, Jack said. Does this have anything to do with David asked. Hey, guys, Titania said. Titania had a whole new outfit, gone was her gender-bent copy of Mercury's outfit. Well. How do I look, Titania asked. Titania, David questioned. Well, someone's surprised, Titania said. Those clothes. They look good on you, Jack said. I know, right? She said she wanted a forest theme, Evelyn said. I thought I had seen you sketch something. So this is the favor Titania asked of you, Evelyn Penny said. And she did a great job. But the outfit wasn't complete without the hairpin, so I went to collect it ahead of you, Titania said. I see. But what happened to the hairpin I got you, Deku asked. Oh, I thought I should get another one. I didn't want to lose it. It's special to me, Titania said. It's special to you. Oh. Deku, have you been courting Titania, David asked. What? No. Why would you say such a thing? The hairpin goes well with her hair, Deku said. Thank you, Izuku. Though do you say that to all the girls with short hair? You seem to have a type, Titania said. I like girls with long hair as well, Deku blurted, before covering his mouth. You hear that, Jack? You better watch out, Evelyn said. Evelyn, Jack yelled, her cheeks going red. The others just laughed. Jack then sighed. We really needed that. Thanks, Jack said. Yeah, I noticed the atmosphere was a bit heavy when I arrived. What happened when I wasn't looking, Titania asked. I'll tell you when we meet up with Bella, Thilla and Ruby. Is she already at the meeting point, Deku asked. Yes. She got really restless. Can't really blame her, Titania said. Heh, I can understand that. Anyway, this may be something only Bella and Thilla can help with, Jack said. Meanwhile in Peak. I don't get it. What's the big deal with you guys? You're just animals. You don't do things any better than my constructs, and on top of that, you crap and bite and eat and buzz. And chirp. You're just going to make a mess for me to clean up. I should just get rid of you again, Janara said. Huff. They'd better thank me when they come back. Now. Only the market's left. And if I can't find any info in there, either, that means Janara said. Back in Vale. It's a terrible fate. I know all too well what you must feel. Seeing someone you love waste away, Thilla said. I figured, sis. Which is why. Considering Bella's situation. Is there anything you can share with us that would help, Jack asked. Our situation is different. Bella's addictions are purely mental, not physical. And the process is not something that can be replicated without magic, Thilla said. Thank you all the same, David said. David, wait. You misunderstand, Bella said. I misunderstand, David asked. We cannot help Amber the same way you'd help me, but I can help her, Bella said. You can, David asked. Really, Evelyn asked. You're sure of that, Bella Penny asked. Yes. I mean, I probably can't do anything about her soul, but I definitely can help with her aura structure, Bella said. That's great, Ruby said. How the hell? Is it your semblance, Titania asked. Yes, Bella said. So, your semblance can also heal an aura structure, but not the soul, Deku said. Yes, but it will probably take some preparations. But I'm sure I can help, if you allow me, Bella said. Bella, I think I could kiss you, right now, David said. Gosh, big brother, I'm not doing it because. Bella said. I figured. Still, if you can really help, that's great news. So, what about we put that aside for a moment, then, and focus on the original reason we gathered here, Jack said. Summer rose, Bella said. And the night of the murder, Thilla said. Yes. Isabella. What happened that night, Jack asked. You already know that Jack's Shni put a contract out for our father's life, Thilla said. Shni, Ruby questioned. Yes, Ruby. Why's his father, Penny said. I see, Ruby said. What you don't know is that Black had also taken another contract. An unusual request, given his frame, but it paid way too much for such an easy job. So, he took it, Thilla said. You mean, Jack asked. Yes. Marcus Black got a contract to kidnap me and Bella, Thilla said. He obviously succeeded. I was living in an orphanage at the time and got me first. Then brought me to one of his hideouts. And a couple days later, he brought Thilla in, Thilla said. Years ago. Thilla yelled as Marcus entered the hideout. Don't be so noisy. I brought you a roommate, Marcus said. Here, Thilla said. Thilla then saw the girl he had brought. She's so little, Thilla said. She's even younger than me, Thilla thought. Yeah. Can't understand what they'd want with two runts like you. Anyway, be sure to make her eat up. We're going for a trek in a few days, Marcus said. Daddy. Mommy. Jackie, Bella sniffed. Back to the present. It wasn't even 2 weeks later when he brought us to. We call it a source, Bella said. A source of what, Evelyn asked. Pyre obsidian, Thilla said. Pyre obsidian is found a bit all over the world, and the boss somehow has a connection to all of it. And areas with particular concentrations of it can act as a conduit for his magic, no matter the distance, Bella said. And that's when it happened, Thilla said. The switch, Jack said. What? Why, young Thilla thought. It hurts. Why does it hurt so much, Bella asked. Why am I looking at myself, Thilla thought. I'll be damned. It actually happened, Marcus said. But why, Ruby asked. To control us. And our semblances. I'm sure you're at least familiar with Wes's semblance, now. It's powerful, but he can't force us to use our semblances with it, Thilla said. Which is why they exchanged our souls, because the only medicine for when I break down is the boss's magic, Bella said. And now that Bella's soul and body have gotten used to each other. He's using Summer, Thilla said. He's using my mother. What do you mean, Ruby asked. Weza. He knows what happened to her, Bella said. What, Ruby asked. And as long as he's still going to need us, he'll keep that knowledge from us, Thilla said. So he hasn't been giving you much, even after you told him about me, Deku asked. No. It's hard to get much about Summer out of him due to the fact we want to know what happened to you, but he doesn't want to know about you. Menting your quirk did intrigue him, but that was it, Thilla said. I see. Sorry it wasn't any help, Deku said. No. We're sorry we made you tell us your secrets, Bella said. But I told you willingly, Deku said. Wait. You did what, Jack asked. What a quirk, Ruby asked. Oh right. She doesn't know, does she? Sorry, Thilla said. It's fine. Ruby, I'll explain later, but you cannot tell anyone, okay, Deku said. Yeah. Girlfriend's honor, Ruby said. Thanks, Deku said. Now. Mind telling us what being going on with the three of you, Jack asked. I guess it all started when we fought at Peak, Deku said. I had noticed that Izuku's aura was off, and when Weza told us he knew what happened to Summer, I thought that Izuku was nice enough to give us a tit for tat. He gives us information, and in return we give him information, Bella said. Why didn't you tell us, Izuku? That information could have been useful, Jack said. Because there was anything worth saying. They don't know much about what Weza wants, Deku said. And I asked it was kept a secret as we are still your enemy and Bella's actions must still be in your minds. Please do not be made at Izuku, Thriller said. Jack sighed. Fine. Let's get back on topic, Jack said. You two shouldn't let him do that, Ruby said. Excuse me, Thriller questioned. What, Bella asked. You shouldn't just let this guy use you. Just to know about my mother, Ruby said. Ruby, you can't, David said. But it's your mother, Titania said. I know. I barely remember her, I only got stories and a picture. And no one wants to know what happened to her more than me. But I'm sure that my mother wouldn't want to be used as an excuse to blackmail you. She'd tell you to just forget about her and keep moving on, Ruby said. You really are just like her, Bella said. I am, Ruby asked. Yes. You sounded just like her for a moment, there, Thriller said. For reals is, Ruby asked. For reals is, Bella said. How did you meet her, then, Penny asked. Marcus kept us captive in that hideout for close to 2 years. Feeding us, keeping us in good health. Until Thriller said. What, Bella questioned. Who, Marcus asked. There's someone outside, Thriller thought. What the? It can't be someone from the village, they wouldn't dare, Marcus said. Someone then busted into the hideout. I didn't want to believe it, Summer said. Who the hell are you, Marcus asked. That someone could be keeping 2 young girls captive, Summer said. The hell are you on? Listen, lady, you've already cost me a door, you'd better turn around and leave if you know what's good, Marcus said. And yet, here I find you, Summer said. Are you even listening to what I'm saying, Marcus asked. Who's that lady, Bella asked. I don't know, but Thriller said. Don't think I didn't recognize you, Marcus Black. The terrified people of this village mustered enough courage to lead me to you. For this, and much more, Summer said. This aura. What kind of, Marcus said. I shall now bring you to justice, Summer said. She actually said all of that, Jack asked. Yes, Bella said. Your mother sounds like a bit of a cornball, Ruby. I like her, Evelyn said. Geez, Mom. Way to embarrass me in front of my friends, Ruby said. She doesn't sound that dissimilar from how you sometimes act, Ruby, Penny said. But it's different. I'm young and cute and adorable. She's my mom, Ruby said. She couldn't capture Black while defending us. But she saved us, Bella said. She wanted to bring us to safety, to a bigger village or city. But we had no way of knowing where to find another source where to fix Bella once she started acting again. So she stayed with us for 6 months. She taught us so many things. She helped me control my semblance and unlocked Bella's aura, Thriller said. Ruby said. When it was time for her to leave. I'll never forget her last words to us, Bella said. Here, Thriller, Summer said. Bella said. Oh, right, you're calling yourself Bella now. Sorry, I still have to get used to it, Summer said. No, but, I mean. This is your cloak. And your brooch, Bella said. Don't worry about the cloak. I always carry a spare. See, Summer said. You actually do, Thriller asked, laughing. Justice is also an image job, you know. People can't feel like a hero has arrived if I don't look the part, Summer said. But your brooch, Bella said. It's fine. It's a present, Summer said. But wouldn't you rather, Bella said. Oh, fine. If you're so adamant about it, you can give it back to me when we meet next time, Summer said. You really think so, Thriller asked. I have no doubt about it. Either I come back for you, or we meet again somewhere in the world. Either way, I'm sure we'll meet again. You're both so strong. And I don't mean physically. It takes resolve to make a decision like you made. You have each other, you have your resolve, and you have aura. I'm sure you'll be fine as long as you keep moving forward, Summer said. Moving forward, Bella said. Yes. No matter how many sad things may happen, you have to keep on living, walking the earth on your own 2 feet. In this violent world, that's the only dignified way to live for humans. So promise me you'll keep moving forward, Summer said. I swear, Bella said. I swear, too, Thilla said. Good girls, Summer said. Ruby, don't take this the wrong way, but I want to be like your mother when I grow up, Evelyn said. She. Sounds awesome, Deku said. Yeah. She does, Ruby said. Is something that matter, Bella asked. I guess I'm a bit jealous. She's my mom, but you got 6 months with her, Young got years. I got nothing, Ruby said. She talked about you and Young a lot, you know, Bella said. What did she say, Ruby asked, blushing. Alright, what about we leave Bella and Ruby alone while we talk about other things, David said. Sounds like a plan. We can take a seat over there, Thilla suggested. The others then left Bella and Ruby alone. Back at Peak. Nothing. Nowhere in the city is there any hint. Ah. I should have seen this coming. I'm going in there with them, after all, Janara said. Back in Vale. That's completely broken, Titania said. A semblance that gives you everything you want, Evelyn said. Not exactly how it works, Thilla said. If that were true, they wouldn't have needed the source or work for Weather. That means there are some limitations, Deku said. You're absolutely right. Bella calls it wish, but all her semblance can do is change the state of something in the realm of possibilities. It can't do the impossible, Thilla said. Oh, I see. Very intriguing, Penny said. It is. Though not to insult everyone else's intelligence. I think an example is needed, Deku said. Hey, the others said. You understand what she's talking about, Deku asked. The others went silent. Thilla laughed. Okay, I'll give you an example. Remember when you thought Bella with Ijuku, Titania, Thilla asked. Do I ever, Titania said. I'm sure Bella must have displayed some superior physical strength, at some point, Thilla said. She did. Even beyond simple aura enhancement, Titania said. That's because she used her semblance to change her own body, to a state where Is was physically stronger. The aura multiplier did the rest, Thilla said. Okay. And what about the explosions, Evelyn asked. She changed the state of the oxygen in the air to a state of combustion. Now in both those cases, the state of being stronger and combustion are both states that her body and the oxygen are technically able to be on their own. But she can't make something happen that is impossible in real life. She can't just wish for the ability to fly or to grow a third limb, because those are things that she can't possibly do, Thilla said. So, what Bella does is create shortcuts, David asked. That's another way to put it, yes, Thilla said. So, what stops her from, like, wishing someone to be dead, Evelyn asked. The further away an object's state is from the current one, the more aura is required of Bella. Affecting living being also multiplies the aura she needs for the wish, and so does making it permanent. Which is why she mostly does things like create explosions with it. Doing something like shutting off someone's body forcefully would just fail, and probably kill her in the process, Thilla said. Hey, no, whoa, I don't want her to die, David said. With your help she won't, David. Remember that her aura pool has no upper limit. Doing something like bringing a defunct aura structure back to normal will probably be the most taxing thing she's ever done, but it's a good thing you're around to help, Thilla said. Yeah. I guess. Although, speaking of semblances, there's something about the story that was unusual to me, David said. What is it? Thiller asked. You mentioned that Bella only got her aura unlocked when you met Summer, after the switch. That would mean at that point in time, the only one with her semblance unlocked was her. I mean you. But, David said. This body's semblance, yes, Thiller said. Alright, thank you. Anyway, that means that the target, the semblance they wanted to obtain was that semblance, and the wish one was just a generous side bonus, David said. That's the same conclusion we've come to, yes. We have no idea why they might exactly need it for, but it seems Isabella Ivory just happened to be a victim of circumstances. Marcus Black was probably just tasked to find another random child to exchange souls with the kidnappee, Thiller said. But they couldn't predict that, Thillers. Oh, screw it. They couldn't predict that your body was a universal soul receiver, David said. Indeed. I think Marcus was told to keep Bella alive only after they realized how close we had become because of the events. And maybe to try and hold a return to normality as a reward for obedience, I don't know, Thiller said. I see. That covers the why, but it leaves the matter of the how and the who, David said. The boss cannot really interact with the outside world as a normal person would. So who gave Marcus Black the contract? Penny asked. And how did they know about the semblance of a random girl in an orphanage somewhere in Vacuo? Evelyn asked. Mistral, actually. And those are the same questions we haven't been able to find answers to, so far, Thiller said. I think I have them, actually, Jack said. Well, that was fast, Titania said. Sister, what do you mean? Thiller asked. There's only one person in all of Remnant that I know of who specifically keeps an eye out for particular semblances. And before the network was a thing, I figured he kept a ledger somewhere, Jack said. Ozpin, Deku said. Yup, Jack said. But that makes no sense. Why would Ozpin ever ask Marcus Black to do something like this? David asked. That's not what Jack was saying, David. Remember, there was someone at Beacon years ago who wanted to find a specific semblance, and thanks to Ozpin's database they were successful in doing so, Deku said. So WH is the one person who involved in this story who had reason, opportunity and skill to access it? Jack asked. Where's Van Gertie? David said. You mean he did that when he was still a student? Evelyn asked. There's no one else it could be. Nor only did he have a motive and opportunity, Jack said. And a connection to the underground world to get a contract to someone like Marcus Black to begin with, Deku said. That's why he started working with Roman Torchwick. Other than amassing the personal wealth needed for it, Penny said. But that would. The first time we met Weza was a year ago. We met Howard before we met him. We thought. Even if he had been recruited before everyone, this Thiller said. Weza has been working on his plan for much longer than we thought, Jack said. And that only brings up more question, doesn't it? Titania asked. Yeah. The same ones, too. How? And why? Deku said. The group then returned to Bella and Ruby. Thanks for today, sister. Bella, Jack said. It was a pleasure, really. Not acting like enemies, for once, was very refreshing. But we ain't finished yet, are we? Thiller asked. How? Bella said. Yeah. We should get a head start on the plan to save Amber, David said. You mean? Bella asked. How else are we going to get you enough aura, otherwise? David asked. No, I understand, of course, but it's a very private thing, and I mean, are you sure you want to? With me? Bella asked. If it makes you feel any better, I promise to drain you of all your aura the moment you try and do anything against me, David asked. I guess, okay, Bella said. I'll also come for every session. I can keep you from harming David if you lose control. And with my aura pools I'll be able to outlast you, Deku said. That makes me feel a bit better. Good. Come on, let's do it, David said. Deku, David and Bella then left. She's trying her best, isn't she? Jack asked. Yes, Thilla was saying before being interrupted by a call. Is that your scroll, Titania? Jack asked. Yes, and right now only 2 people have my number. Excuse me, I gotta take this, Titania said. Only 2 people. If one is Professor Peach, the other must be, Jack thought. Ruby, you sure you want to go ahead on your own? Penny asked. It's fine, Penny. I just need some time to think. It was nice hearing more stories about my mother. But it's still a lot to take in, you know. All this stuff with Headmaster Ozpin, too. Also, this quirk thing with Izuku. It's all so much. And there's something else I can't put my finger on that is bothering me so much, Ruby said. Hey, I know the feeling. Just remember that we're here if you need to bounce ideas back and forth, Evelyn said. Absolutely. We're always here for you, Ruby. And I'm sure your team is too, Penny said. I know, but I don't know how much I can tell them considering how this whole thing is tied to. You know. Oh, well, not much thinking to be done right now without some inspirational solitude. Good night, Evelyn. Penny Ruby said. Ruby then left. Wonder what's on her mind. She didn't seem sad, but Evelyn said. I wonder as well. Still, I'm happy that hearing stories about her mother made Ruby more happy than sad. I have no experience with loss, so I wouldn't know where to begin helping her, Penny said. Only you would be sad about something like that, girlfriend, Evelyn said. I guess it can be taken as weird, yes, Penny said. But you're my weirdo, Evelyn said. But you're the weirdo for tonight, Penny said. It's more kinky than weird, Evelyn said. I meant doing it with us still there, Penny said. Well, Jack has new headphones, and you and David can do it. Or you could join in later, Evelyn said. A short while later, Team JPDE and Titania returned to Beacon. How much time do we have? Jack David asked. At least a couple weeks more. Ozpin's summon was urgent, but he was willing to allow me some more time, Jack said. Time for what, exactly? The only thing you haven't told us is how your conversation with the headmaster ended, Penny asked. That's something we didn't want Weza to know about, even by mistake, Deku said. Because it entails telling you about his request. About the real reason why me and Evelyn are in Beacon in the first place, Jack said. It's about Amber's power, isn't it? You said that the entire reason they are keeping Amber alive is to not let Cinder have her magic, but if it's going to happen sooner or later, Titania said. Also, if all Cinder had to do was wait, she wouldn't have risked coming to Beacon in the first place. She's here because she needs to make sure, David said. Which means there's a way to make sure those powers never come her way, Evelyn said. But if the headmaster said that he can't save Amber, that only leaves, Penny said. Transferring her powers to someone else. And that's where me and Evelyn come in. I asked the headmaster for more time to verify if Evelyn's actual semblance may still be of help, Jack said. It's dangerous, isn't it, David asked. Yes. That machine has never been tested before. In theory it should work, but Deku said. Which is why my semblance was needed. To predict the outcome, Evelyn said. And a strong aura and conviction also help in accepting magic powers. Apparently, I'm the best choice among the orphans, be they active or retired, Jack said. But what about you, Izuku? You seem to fit the bill, Titania said. Whilst I do fit the requirements for the transfer, as we've said. But there's a problem with who I am. I'm male. The maiden's powers can only be transferred between females. I thought about telling him about Nana but decided against it, Deku said. Hold on, Evelyn said. Who's Nana? Penny asked. She's one of the past users of One for All and the original user of the quirk float, Deku said. Shouldn't that make things a bit awkward? I mean, she can see everything, David said. Ah. No. God damn it, David. Why did you have to say that, Deku said. Sorry, David said. Lucky bastard. You've got a beautiful woman in your head that you won't share, Jack said. Shut up, Deku said. Wait. How do you know what she looks like, Titania asked. I saw her before I woke up the morning Izuku finally woke up. I actually saw the beginnings of All for One and One for All, Jack said, blushing. Jack. Why are you blushing, Evelyn asked. It's nothing. Let's get back to Amber, okay, Jack asked. Should we tell the headmaster about Cinder, Titania asked. That would also reveal that we actually know Amber. And that we have no intention of letting her die. Work or not, that machine will kill Amber, Deku said. The headmaster would never approve of letting Bella help. He would have zero reason to trust her, and if Amber dies without transferring her powers, they will all go to Cinder, Penny said. David. Izuku, did Bella tell you any details about the process? Could it be done from a distance, Jack asked. No, David said. So, my wish, it. First of all, I have to see the thing I want to affect. Second, if I want to affect something living, I need to touch it, Bella said. I see. So other than needing to gather enough aura, you're also going to need to be near Amber for your semblance to work, David asked. Yeah. It's not going to be easy, right, Bella asked. No. But we'll find a way, Bella. No obstacle has been able to stop Team JPDE yet. And it won't start now, Deku said. Right. I'm sure you will. You'll find a way, Bella said. So we'll need to get access to this vault, Evelyn said. That's going to be a headache and a half. The only entrance we could see was the elevator, Jack said. The same elevator that leads to the headmaster's office, Penny said. Yes, but the vault's floor is only selectable from the headmaster's office. On top of that, it needs a password for the elevator's numpad. So, in order we need Bella to be at a high enough aura level for the treatment to work, we need to access the headmaster's office and we need to know that password, Deku said. Penny, wouldn't you be maybe able to help with that last thing, Titania asked. I do have some hacking capabilities but nowhere near the level needed for something like this. I'm mostly optimist for battle. But I think I know who may be able to help with that, Penny said. That's one problem down, Evelyn said. Yeah. Now, I trust we don't need to worry about getting Bella charged up, Jack asked. You leave that to us, partner. She's going to have all the energy she needs, David said. Just watch out for her mood swings, all right? I know she seems to have gotten better, but Evelyn said. No need to worry, that's why I'm going to be there every time we meet with her, Deku said. And I'll drain her of all her aura if she tries anything, David said. Speaking of aura sharing, since now you know all about how her semblance works, Jack said. I haven't really tested it yet, since I'm currently low on aura. I'll check tomorrow, David said. You never know, Jack said. All that's left, I guess, is finding a good occasion to sneak in. Glad I have something to tell Janara other than Amber is dying, Titania said. You haven't told Janara yet, Penny asked. She's already got enough on her mind without the need for a collection of bad news. Speaking of which, she's coming with us into the mines. She couldn't find anything pertaining to our situation in the entire city, Titania said. Meanwhile in Ozpin's office. No, I can't. Despite. I can't. Still. This is the only way to make sure. And if, by chance, this isn't a scheme. She has a right to know, Ozpin said. Ozpin then began to be surrounded by a green light, and then a magenta light began to fill the room. Is this a joke, Ozpin, a woman asked. We need to talk, Ozpin said. A woman with white hair and skin, with reed markings, was now in Ozpin's office. Salem, Ozpin said. In Team JPDDE's room. Deku had just gotten out of the shower. He had hoped a nice shower would have taken his mind off what happened today, but it didn't. Deku thought it best to try and get some sleep. Deku exited the shower. The others had already gone to bed, but then he noticed something on Evelyn's bed. Deku moved closer to see that it was Evelyn, but she was tied up with a rope, had a blindfold on, and a gag in her mouth. Evelyn. What is this? Deku asked. Evelyn didn't respond. Right. The gag, Deku said. Deku went to remove the gag, but Evelyn turned away. Deku then noticed a knot on Evelyn's rear. Punish me, Daddy. I've been a bad girl, the note read. Why must you do this to me? Deku asked. Deku climbed into Evelyn's bed. He looked over at Jack's bed. Sorry, Jack, Deku said. Deku then gave Evelyn her punishment, and afterwards David and Penny got in on the punishment. End of chapter 48.